So I'm not sure how the feel about this. The Waverunners, again, like Cookie said, Waverunners' house on fire. They're the ones that need to really work on their own game. You know, KCP last week were negligent in their Oregon game against Livid, so they also have their own problems to fix, but I think that's a lot less compared to Waverunners.
And at least for here, Waverunners in the map ban phase, Cookie's really pointing this out. They were going to ban Consulate, one of KCP's best maps. They just lost in Chile as well. They were really on the back foot for the entirety of the ban phase. And Villa, again, like I said, blessing and a curse. But we're moving into the ban phase right now, or the op ban phase specifically. And to start things out, wow, a Thatcher and a Hibana ban. This is so crazy. But that does mean for Waverunners, they can at least play things a little bit more standard. And I'm sure if they at least thought they would go to Villa, or if they've even played Villa, really, they would have expected those two attacker bans. If the defensive ban, a Valkyrie as well, this is nothing too crazy so far.
Same as always. This is the exact same as always. I'm expecting either a Kaid ban or a Mai or a Mira. That's probably going to be the last one up on this ban phase, I'd expect. But yeah, this is a pretty standard ban phase as per Villa. Of course, Thatcher, you always deal the MPs. The X-Kairos of Hibana used always to open up the bottom of reinforcements. Impact tracking is so prevalent on this map, and Womai is the other ban. Nothing too crazy. Make it easier to take out some of those, use projectiles, since you don't want Womai and Jaeger piling up on you. So let us see how it works out. We have KCP on defense first, though, so they have, I would say, the stepping stone first, but on Villa, it's kind of even these days.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Villa used to be that map where it was 5-1 defensive halves. That was back when it first, I wouldn't say first came out, but still early on in its life cycle. Long gone are those days. This is a very different, I wouldn't say very different Villa, but still different enough where it's not that same 5-1 half for the defense at all, really, in any way, shape, or form. It is still focused a fair bit on that utility. Of course, Womai being banned, you can't focus on the Jaeger, but you still have plenty on the defense to bring out, and many of these ops are off to bring out. The Goyo and the Aruni being two that you will often see. Maestro, Villa released in the same season Maestro was released, so fitting that we see him here. But for Waverunners, they are taking things at least a little bit differently from what we would normally see. Silence on the Buck. Not something uncommon for Silent, but just something uncommon on Villa.
Yeah, it's sometimes you don't see Buck as often because, you need the nades, you need the destruction. So, Buck isn't brought in regards because you could bring Ashe, you could bring Zofia, you could bring, a Jackal from that too. But Buck is helpful though. If Mirror was available, Buck would be huge here to deal with the Mirror from below. But Mirror is being brought by KCP, so really, the Buck will still get some use though, because you still can, try and find some of those defenders who are playing aggressive with being classical, or you're playing by main stairs. Kind of really main stairs, because main stairs has that brick landing that you really can't destroy from below. You just have the grenade from above, but you could still deal with guys classical, maybe in 90. There's still other ways you can use Buck pretty heavily to deal with some of those roamers on KCP's side. And the question is, how aggressive will KCP play?
We do see a couple players sitting off the site right now, moving up and down between the red stairs, the first and the second floor. But for right now, Waverunners getting a little bit of early information, just checking things out, not dedicating to anything so far, though at least for the moment, likely not going to see a master side over as well. The majority of the attackers are on this southern side of the map. Silent making his way through Art to the bottom of main stairs. He's looking to try and either gain some intel or start taking control of that main stairs. But most importantly, he has the skeleton key, and if he wants to sit in piano or library, he can open up the floor to try and counter these defenders. But there's already holes opened up to look down on him, and he's the first one to take a bit of damage.
Ooh, that was a sneaky peek. The mute of Jolton was waiting for a good pick there, but good quick peeks to see that somebody was holding those holes, and he'll make sure that, hey, I got shot at, I'm just gonna back off for now, not take any fights I don't need to. And so far though, they've taken control main stairs. This Browns has been taken control by Waverunners. KCP aren't really using any kind of resistance here and allowing for Waverunners to strut up, take control of main stairs, and Silent with the first kill onto Jolton, the one person we just talked about a second ago. So that mute who was playing aggressive through those vertical holes is the first to die.
Do lose a C4 and a powerful player potentially inside the site, but a lot of the utility in the hands of the Pioneers is still strong. I say that, but with DS Lucas down, if they're able to pick this one up, that could be huge. But no, not just yet. A second grenade goes out from Lovely, doesn't find anything except a bit of damage onto Wimpy, and they will also gain some intel on the down DS Lucas if they were not aware of his state earlier. Silent will finish him off, and I would say that combined with the pick on a Jolton is huge. Not only do you lose that C4, but now those Evil Eyes, that intel as well, once they get destroyed, they're not going to do much overall, and you can't move them. So if they're in a bad position, that's just unfortunate for you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to lose, and it seems like this vertical pressure is huge. Lovely with the grenade kill from below onto Inrio. So this below pressure with the Buck and the grenades has proved vital. Wimpy will at least take one back and try to even it up. Wimpy with 2, Gomez taking shots. Wimpy with 3 though. He's going a huge so far and bringing it a 2v2, but both of these last defenders have no HP left.
I really thought with the vertical control that Waverunners had previously, this was not going to be an issue. But then again, even though they've suffered a 3-man loss in the span of seconds, both Gomez and Wimpy are both on low HP. This is still difficult for the Pioneers to come away with, and would likely require a little bit of a toss from Waverunners. One is inside the site, but one is moving 90. A nice pre-fire from Lovely's able to finish him off, but Gomez is there for the trade. 25 seconds left. Silent with Diffuser in the site, has intel on Gomez's position as well. This should be a win for Waverunners. If he just lands the pre-fire, doesn't give himself away, this could work out. He's looking the wrong way initially, but he course corrects, finds the Goyo. Waverunners, they take the first round in this series.
That was quite a display of vertical pressure from the side of Waverunners. They had gotten 3 picks to the use of the skeleton key of Buck on Silent and grenades from, I believe it was Lovely playing as well. So those grenades from Lovely, Vanna. But also, we talk about KCP's defense. KCP really didn't have, we talk about aggression. We kind of akin KCP to aggression, to gunplay, and yet KCP did not resist, did not play main stairs whatsoever, didn't really play below at all either. We saw 2 players below in the beginning, but they quickly went back to site, quickly went back to upstairs, maybe playing trophy statuary, but they let Waverunners just kind of play that south side of the map, both second and first floor, to their heart's content. And to the heart content, it really gives them the advantage. Though Wimpy, he is Wimpy, and he really almost made that a comeback.
That got really scary there, especially with the DMR. Obviously, with the Roni, not a high magazine count. Still would have been difficult either way, but with the DMR as well, not exactly the best fire rate on the planet. In a situation where you have to take down 3 people, I don't imagine a lot of people would pick that as the weapon of their choice, but as you said so eloquently, it's Wimpy. Wimpy likes to come away with those sometimes. But overall, Benny, maybe it's because of how much tumult Waverunners are going through right now. I did not have the bar set too high, but starting off at round 1 with how expertly they played that vertical, I'm kind of excited for what we might see in this match. It wasn't just Silent on the Buck, Lovely on the nades as well. Moving into a site like Kitchen, sure, we're not going to see the same from bottom up vertical, but we will see some top down, and if they're able to clear out this extension pretty coordinatedly as well, this might be a Waverunners, even with all the chaos they're going through right now. If they're able to at least clear out this roam pretty well. Sure, they might falter in the end, but if they're able to take those steps, I have to say we might have a good match on our hands.
Might be. I definitely agree. I'm looking good. The indicators are looking good for Waverunners to show us a good match here. And they, a lot of teams don't bring the buck, so whenever they lose the sledge, they lose that vertical pressure that is so important on a a site like Kitchen and Dining. So the fact that they're bringing 2 soft breachers, Waverunners have a lot they can do here, and they can even lose Lovely or Silent and still be able to pull the round back if that happens. But again, the first part is the aggression from KCP. Of course, we see 2 players upstairs for the moment. Looks like a third is roaming horizontally, 2 players on site. So now, Waverunners, we saw them play vertically really well, but can they roam clear efficiently? That is going to be the next step, and if they can show us that ping is coming out on the player inside of, inside the living room, it's Wimpy.
That's what I was about to say. We are seeing some players from Waverunners start to coordinate and try to take down the Goyo. There are some pings, there's some intel, but not enough to actually take away the life of Wimpy. He'll rotate back down. That's a minute wasted, but still, it's only a minute. Waverunners, since they're opting to take this horizontally, the fact that, sure, they don't get a kill, they're able to come away with this is still very nice. And with the opening pick as well, Silent 2 in a row, but this time on a DS Lucas, but the Mute once again, hurting themselves in the utility department once again. And once these defenders start rotating down Astro, if Waverunners are set up in their positions, they could even catch one on the rotate down.
Yeah, they think of the anchors first, because one of the anchors was DS on site, so if they can catch those players rotating, that's huge for Waverunners. They can play as well. But again, of course, let's see, the last player on site is going to be Inrio on that Maestro with that Alda, which is still a scary prospect in the hands of Inrio. So let's see what happens here. It looks like they're trying to push through horizontally, as you said before, and they're making this a horizontal push. Do they have any holes above to try and help out Inrio? Because he's already taking a lot of damage. They pushed away into Dining, all the way back of Couch as well. Gomez gets a kill on the Lovely elsewhere. Silent goes down 2 to Wimpy, so this is a great flank here from KTP.
Now Gomez gets 3 so far, 2 in just a couple seconds there, and it's Nicolo alone by himself. He'll pick up 1, but not enough. A quad for Gomez on the rotate back down. So all those angles we were talking about, hyping up for Waverunners, they got somebody on red stairs. They have library control. They're watching all these avenues for flanks. Didn't matter in the end, because, well, they didn't clear out the roam early on. So Pioneers were just like, okay, well, we'll rotate down. Maybe once we've caused a little bit of chaos on the site, Gomez gets 4. Nice clean round from Pioneers. Waverunners, they just kind of took it in the mid to late round.
Yeah, I would say that Waverunners had the intent there. They were going to push horn downs. They pushed onto site, but they were caught up on the only person on site was Inrio, and Inrio was able to waste enough time to allow his teammates to then flank and just, I guess it's interesting. We said maybe they had all the angles, but they maybe just losing the gunfights, even though KCP, they were expecting KCP to then flank him at that point. So not sure exactly. We didn't see a lot of those kills off angle, but maybe at that point, when the Waverunners had the angles and KCP, with killing into good guns skill, they won those fights out that the
Attackers need to
Waverunners maybe
locate
were
and
expecting.
defuse as many bombs as they can.
And Pioneers, oddly enough, losing one of the primary bomb sites first, winning the tertiary bomb site, will now move back to one of those primaries, being trophy and statuary. But this is also a site that can sometimes, especially with the Buck, revolve around that vertical play from the bottom up. You can go for nades from below in kitchen. You can use silent on that Buck to contest players either playing on deer or in trophy, or on statue and statue, or on the main wall. So for the Pioneers, they might want to invest in putting one, maybe even two players downstairs to try to waste some time on the clear, then hopefully get one or two to rotate back. They could also go for the standard AVG extension, like we normally see on Trophy Statuary, to waste time on a horizontal clear. But they have to react to whatever Waverunners are doing, because Waverunners are going for a horizontal, and they're not contesting over on this side, which they are. That'll hurt them. But if they go from below, that'll hurt them as well.
Well, so far we see that AVG extension like you were talking about. They have the mirror set up on the game's wall, so it should make it difficult to take control study. Though there's nobody really playing main stairs, so at least they can try and take main into classical. We'll see what Pioneers have in store if they do that. But so far, it looks like they're going for a horizontal or a below a vertical push so far. Droning out, using that Gemini replicator to see who is playing below, and there seems to be some holes vertically, but no real players inside of dining and kitchen, so they should have no problem going down here, taking control, and using that stealth key to their aid. Though I maybe saw a silhouette of one player in the basement.
I wouldn't be surprised on a map like Villa, especially with these two teams playing. We might very well see one, but no, I don't believe we see anybody down there, at least for the moment. Actually, no, we did. It was Wimpy, but he's now rotated up round stairs, playing close with a shotgun. Not going to aggressively contest Waverunners taking this map control, but if one gets a bit sloppy, maybe he doesn't drone out the top of those stairs, either him or GS Lucas, also playing on those Astro stairs, could swing out and either go for a trade or a nice cheeky 2 kills. But until then, Waverunners are left to their own devices downstairs to open up these floors, and while Pioneers do have angles watching that bottom floor, it didn't do much to hurt Waverunners' overall push last time, and so far it doesn't appear to be doing that much again. It's really on DS Lucas and Wimpy to hopefully make a play later on.
Well, so far they're opening up the holes, making sure they can destroy that electrical claw on the tri-wall in bedroom so they can get this wall open. That's part of the next step in Waverunners. Oh, and there's one in bathroom. DS says gets in a bit intel, knows there's one in bathroom. Of course, one Astro stairs too. So they're starting to figure out what the push here is from Waverunners, and are they going to let Waverunners do what they want and try and open this wall up, or are they going to start pushing the action and get aggressive? Hard to say. They're pinging out this wall, make sure they can destroy that. And like a C4, there's their aggression from so far. One C4 go thrown out, but no damage on it. A little bit damage on Lovely, but no kill. So he's still playing the Astro window, and DS and Wimpy are still waiting for some kind of rotate up this Astro stairs. Wimpy the first kill on the side. That's a great start for KCP.
There's that lack of intel coming to bite you. He's able to take down the Buck, the Silent. Though Silent has already done his job when it comes to allowing the attackers up top to open up this statue wall. Still going to hurt. Now you have either potentially a mute, but in all reality, 2 players left in the wind, and now 2 players down on the side of Waverunners. DS Lucas has rotated down, so all this bottom floor control, you've lost it because you didn't do your due diligence to clear out or actively gain intel on brown stairs. Nicola will try to move in with the clearance inside of Astro. DS Lucas vacating that position, but it's Gomez to take him down, to put Waverunners in a 4v2. Now a 4v1 since Inrio swung out from Brick, and Jolton picks the last one up on red. They might have faltered in round 1, but the past couple rounds from the Kansas City Pioneers have looked very strong.
I definitely agree. The lack of intel and the lack of awareness of flanks or who is pushing up and where they could be playing is kind of a big thing on Waverunners. They kind of just walked in a dining and kitchen, but that's the only thing they drone. They only drone dining and kitchen, make sure it's clear, make sure there's no vertical angles from above. They didn't clear brown stairs, they didn't clear Astro stairs. And so far, unfortunately, those 2 players downstairs that could have been key in helping out those players, pushing bathroom, pushing into Astro, were dealt with by Wimpy and DS. So at that point, it was only a push from that tri-wall, from bathroom, from Astro window into, Astro into sight. And KCP at that point understood the push. They had the players ready, and they were able to take down those players. Gomez playing aggressively on that bathroom or in that tri-wall wall, of course. Players in Astro as well playing well. Gomez had the cover on the person pushing out of Astro or into Astro from bathroom, which helped out, DS on Astro stairs. So really good work on the KCP.
And we've highlighted it a couple times already, but the big success for Waverunners in round number 1 was that vertical play, and it was not much. It was actually not at all a factor in round number 2, and it was a little bit of a factor in round number 3, but it didn't have the same success. Whereas with Waverunners here, It wasn't just Silent using a skeleton key. Lovely got some excellent nades from below, but it still came down to an extremely close round, with Wimpy getting a triple kill at the end. You could attribute that to Wimpy being an excellent player, as we did, but it could also indicate maybe a little bit of a lack of intel from Waverunners when it comes to the late round, allowing Wimpy, with a DMR in fact, to come away with 3 kills, making it much closer than it should have been. So for Waverunners, if the Pioneers just apply a little bit more pressure, put someone downstairs, like Jolton is doing, or maybe not aggressively contest, but they put someone main to make it a little bit harder, Waverunners, if they're lacking that same late round intel, that could hurt them in the end, and that vert might not be as easy as it once was.
Well, it's interesting too, because that round they brought the Buck, they didn't bring a mirror. In this round now, they're bringing the Buck on the side of Inrio, so that Buck is now, or not Buck, that Mirror is brought by Inrio, and the Buck isn't being brought by Silent. He's now a Sledge, and Lovely has brought the Nomad, maybe thinking there's going to be flanks, but this is AVG play from the side of Pioneers. Last time they played this out, it was purely on site. There was no aggression. They let Waverunners take control of main stairs. There was no flanks. There was no plays. Wimpy got all those kills pretty much on site or near site, near Skull, near 90. So I don't exactly know if the Nomad was a great choice here. We'll see how it works out for them. But so far, these nades now being used to try and get rid of these mirrors that are playing, on that main wall.
Do have the extra nades in the hand of Silent. You also, again, you do bring those air jabs, but the adaptation for Pioneers, so far, it's been relatively quiet on the main stairs. We've seen a couple nades from below, one from Vena and one from Silent. A little bit of damage as well. He unfortunately just sends the nade at the wall. Maybe gets a bit scared. I think he actually destroys a drone in the process as well, so a bit of unlucky utility usage there. But there's no main stairs congestion, so this vertical control, that big saving grace for Waverunners in round 1, it's not even a factor so far. Silence pushing up red, clearly lacking a fair bit of intel. Ben is there for the trade, but it's still going the way of Waverunners, oddly enough, as Niccolo, coming in from Statue, is able to pick up Gomez while Silence down on the floor, making this an effective 3v3. Pioneers, they still have the map control they need.
Yeah, Pioneers still have control of what they require, and the main stairs isn't the intent this time. So at this point now, KCP at least can pull back and take solace inside of, take some asylum inside of study or inside of main stairs, knowing that the push from Waverunners this time is intent on a north to south take. I wonder if a player from Waverunners will be able to rotate, later on, or I say later on, but this is the end of the round, to that study side to make this a pinch, because otherwise they're going to run right into this mirror that's watching for this maps or behind vault door plants. Waverunners, Lovely, pushing towards 90, team control classical, because that will make at least a pinch, and you can try, invalidate those mirrors that are watching for that kind of plants, because otherwise you're just walking into what KCP are expecting.
Well, Waverunners went in expecting maybe a more easy push on this 90 side, but the vault wall is still cated. It's not going to be so. Lovely's moved outside. He's starting to rotate over to study, but at this point, he could apply some pressure to Jolton over on main stairs. In fact, Silent might be applying a bit more active pressure on main. Alt walking down to the bottom of the stairs. He's putting himself a bit at risk, but he's able to find him nonetheless. That is a massive pick from Silent, able to take this side of the map, but there's still strong utility on the side of the Pioneers. A C4 goes out to find Niccolo. The bullets of DS Lucas do as well, but he's all alone. Maple cleans up the final 2, and it's a very late rotation, but with a couple well-timed frags, Waverunners are able to spin that in the right direction.
Oh boy, that was close, Waverunners. We talk about the beginning was a scuffle. That was a change up in Waverunners. They changed up their ops thinking that they weren't going to bring mirror, like it was going to be the same as last time, but that mirror was in place, so the Buck probably was needed to make that that study play happen. So they go for a red stairs take, they go for a north side take instead, and they run into KCP, and really they actually end up winning those engagements, winning those trades, giving them the man advantage. But the problem at that point is the fact that they were kind of gated towards that skull push into Aviator, which they had the mirror ready for. So at that point, they have to rotate and make another play happen. And really, I would say that was actually some really good utility, because they took control of Classical Hall, or part of it at least. They control closer to 90, and they had the stuns ready so they could help out that main stairs push that Silent had to do late in the round. He was already low HP, and they had the Zofia of Niccolo stun. Perfect timing as he pushes up, so he gets stunned. He looks the other way. Silent pushes up behind right-bound main stairs and gets the kill at the perfect time.
It's just one of those moments where if a couple things go differently, that could either have been a more dominant Waverunners round. Well, it actually was, I would say, somewhat dominant, at least in the late round. It was a 3v4 with Silent getting picked back up, so they still had a fair bit of manpower at their disposal. But if Silent doesn't get downed, if he gets killed instead of downed, that round goes a lot differently. Maybe instead of rotating your Nomad over to study window, maybe you send her on that flank, or you just have her try to contest Jolton on those stairs. But a lot of that really did come down to just a couple gunfights going the way of wave runners on that push up red stairs, and that's what happens sometimes. Right now,
Yeah.
we'll be taking a bit of a pause to wait to see what's going on. Actually, I don't believe it's a timeout. I believe there was something going on with Silent. It was a tactical, well, not a tactical rehost. What's the word I'm looking for?
Rehost? I don't know. Tactically, it could
I
be
guess
it could be
rehost, but it's a
they have
technical
if someone
timeout. That's what
if
it
someone
was.
if someone does disconnect, use it as a tactical timeout at that point because you have to fix it.
That's true. You get a
Get
talk.
your player back. So hard to say, but either way, yeah, I think it could have been different. If that first engagement they hadn't lost or if someone had died, it could have been even 2-2 trade rather than losing a man for 2 and then getting you're in a 4v3 at that point. But I will say, at least in that case, Waverunners still identified where they need to go, what they need to do, because I knew the mirror was on the board, so they went for the classic call, made sure they took control of main stairs. So I still give it to Waverunners. Good job, but in the end, yeah, if they had that first engagement been different and it was a 3v3 instead, that could have been very different.
But now we are moving forward. Waverunners, they've won Aviator games twice. I doubt Pioneers, based on how they tackled their loss at that site previously, I doubt they'll go for it again. So moving forward, we could go to either Trophy Statuary or Dining Room and Kitchen. If it's Kitchen, Benny, we saw that horizontal push. We saw how it panned out. Do you think they should go for a bit more of a focus on that vertical control, or should they just try ramming their head against that wall a second time?
It's like last time we didn't see the kills. That was the big thing. We didn't really see the kills on the side of Waverunners when they got flanked by Gomez. They got flanked by those players upstairs. So that's kind of the issue, is that we don't really know what happened exactly. We just know that Gomez went on a spree and he flanked 4 people. That's all we really know from the kill feed. So I don't really know maybe if Waverunners were, accurately, watching their backs, making sure they had the angles covered. But again, like they walked into sight and they almost had dining at that point. They were in couches. Like they had the Yana of Vanna in couches. They had 2 people in sight. Inrio was the only person on site because they got that first pick on, Diaz, who was the mute on site. So if they had done that a bit quicker and they had control, they could have planted the diffuser, taken control, opened up laundry and had, that post-plant situation. But I don't know if that was an issue because they were too slow, or maybe if there was angle going correctly. I'm not sure what's happening. We didn't see a lot of that around, unfortunately. But I do think, yeah, they should probably try to roam clear KCP this time. Maybe go for that different play because they don't want to do the same thing twice and run into, KCP doing the same thing too.
Yeah, but if they are trying to adapt, we saw them switch to the Nomad in that last round. Didn't have the most active role in the round. Again, while the flanks were the big factor in that kitchen round, wasn't as much in the round we just saw. No. But if they are switching to that Nomad, it could very well be likely to counter that play from Gomez to stop him from getting a 4K and completely dismantling your push, because whether he vaulted on over, moved down a stairway, whatever you want, of course, could still vault over, depending on where you place the air jabs, but if it's moving down Astro stairs, moving down red stairs, not as much of a factor if you have that Nomad at your disposal. But then again, maybe Silent's a bit more uncomfortable on the sledge than the Buck. Of course, did win that last round, but he seemed to like that sledge from how many opening picks he was getting early on in the game.
I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've seen Silent play sledge like crazy well in the past, so I'm pretty sure he's fine on sledge.
I think that actually, yeah, as you say that, I think that hype unit game on Cafe, he was on sledge, and that was the game he dropped like 24 for the W.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait,
I think it's more the point, like whether or not the air jabs will be helpful if they flank like they did last time. Well, it depends how. I don't know where Gomez even came from too. So it's like it depends where you put the air jabs and where Gomez, even flanks from last time too, because he was in Red Hall too. Maybe he jumped down, the opening, the single wall instead of Astro. I don't know where that from.
That might be because they did have somebody playing over on that bottom red side.
Yeah.
And they had somebody library. The only real place there that he could have jumped without getting spotted, or could have moved down without getting spotted, likely would have been that vault on over. Would have made a hell of a lot of noise, but that would explain his pathing later on in the round, getting the final couple kills inside of Memorial and bypassing some of the players sitting at those flank locations. So that in all likelihood is probably where he came from. But at least going into this round, flank watch might be important, but it's also another situation where so far we haven't seen a very dedicated roam from KCP. We saw that extension in round number 1, but we haven't really seen it tested. We saw, Jolton sitting on main stairs, but beyond that extension on dining room and kitchen, KCP have been playing it pretty reserved so far.
Yeah, we had. Yeah, this roam has been tested. Hasn't really, head on taken yet. Really, we saw the roam inside the extension inside of AVG. You said before that mirror is a pain though, so I wouldn't really go for that either way, because that's a very difficult AVG extension to really fight off if there's mirror available. Of course, you had the roam upstairs inside of Astro, inside of Bathroom, but Waverunners didn't elect to really go for that whatsoever, to really head on take it on. So I don't know. KCP have had some aggression here and there, but it's definitely been more reserved. It's more timed. It's more like maybe more, I guess, planned in a sense.
Well, KCP, you don't get second in CL by going into games without a plan, so I imagine they do have some idea of what's going on, to put it mildly. But we are going back to dining room and kitchen, so we'll see if Waverunners, taking that extended pause that we just had, they've taken the time to go over some of their pushes, whether they want to go for that horizontal change again. They are bringing that Nomad, so if they've identified their big problem that round as the flanks and not the take itself, those air jabs, maybe a couple more drones on the flank or somebody paying a bit closer attention could be the solution that they need. But at the same time, they also have tools at their disposal to go for a vertical take. They have that Sledge. They have that Zofia, hopefully with breach charges. I don't know quite yet if she does. But they have the tools at their disposal to go for either. So it's up to Waverunners once we hit that action phase.
Yeah, last time they did the Buck and the Sledge, and they didn't elect for it, which is interesting. The fact that they had two of the tools to go for like two dedicated soft features to go for that vertical play, yet they elected for a horizontal take. They straight up just bypassed the roam, or tried to at least, until, you know, Gomez went crazy and killed them all. But let us see this time if Lovely can place his air jab and try and deny Gomez if he does it this time. And we'll see what Waverunners' plan is, you know, coming out to the last, you know, end of the prep phase. We'll figure out what's going on. Of course, yeah, KCP's roam last time they had, you know, would be on the Goyle. They had Gomez up here too. And I guess it's annoying trying to deal with those Vulcan shields and that, you know, that hardcore roam inside of Astro. But I would be love to see Waverunners actually elect to try and, you know, take out one of these roams one time. They haven't done it so far in any of these rounds.
Well, at least 3 members of Waverunners spawning over by Master Bedroom. I'd imagine this is the side of the map that we'll see this take come from. All sitting outside this door right now. We're going to see a rush in from Waverunners. There's one playing close with a shotgun. He's not looking the right way, but he manages to escape around the corner. And Rio's landed the opening pick. That's Nicolo down. They don't have the intel on DS Lucas's position. He'll take down Silent before he falls. Wimpy finds Fenna as well. But surprisingly, in a 2v4, Waverunners are able to get the bomb down. As Maple comes off of it, he takes off the head of Gomez. But this is a difficult position right now. Lovely, well, I was going to say he has one key angle, but he's the only one left. No crossfire potential for the side of Waverunners. It's entirely on Maple to try to land this position, with 2 defenders peeking him, 2 subsequently fall. Jolt in the 3rd, he's able to seal it out and stop the rush from Waverunners in through Laundry, take the Pioneers' 3rd round. Clearly the tactical pause to that rush from Waverunners.
Right then. That was an interesting way to do that. I guess they just elected to rush again. They just said, screw it, we're just going to go straight for it. And while that could have worked, they didn't have the intel required to make that really happen, because they had no clue Inreal was holding that door from kitchen. So that's why the first kill goes Inreal's favor. Then they didn't know, you know, DS was in the corner with the shotgun by the laundry wall, so he gets a kill too. I think also one player comes back to Memorial, kills another player, so it ended up being a 2v4. I think it was a 2v4 post plant, and at that point, it just allowed KCP just traded out kills, like 2 for 1, 2 for 1.
Yeah, that was the kind of, sometimes the rushes you see, it's like, oh, they don't have any pressure on this side of the site. Let's hit this side. For example, if you say you're attacking Gym Bedroom, you realize that, oh, they literally have no way to contest Gym, or there's 4 people over in Cash. Let's just hit the site real quick. And then you go. That seemed like a rush where it was like, guys, what if we rush and hit the site? And they didn't actually have the intel to make it work, so.
Yeah, like, it's true there's only 2 people on site, that's true, but it's like, they also have players above you that could open the hatch and laundry as well.
And people actively watching the door you're coming through. That
too, yeah. So it definitely was interesting to see from Waverunners. They're trying to figure things out. They're trying to make some crazy plays, but it seems like maybe they're running out of ideas. Running out of what to do exactly. Well, we go on to AVG a 3rd time for the Pioneers.
Trophy statuary, actually.
Oh, my bad. Extension. It's the AVG extension.
That's fine. 60% of the defenders sitting in AVG, I get it.
Yeah, my bad. But either way, so they have the AVG extension, and last time Waverunners elected to go for that vertical, push that, you know, Master and Bathroom at the same time, to have that multifaceted attack. But unfortunately, they didn't really drone out Bouncers. They didn't drone out with any of the defenders when nearby, and DS Wimpy were waiting for that rotate to Astro Stairs from the side of Waverunners. And unfortunately, by the time that, you know, they get into that point where they can just take out both the Buck of Silent, and I believe it was maybe Venna, whoever was with him. So this time they're trying to at least drone it up. Buck's not here, so this vertical play isn't nearly as potent.
No, it is not. You do not have the Buck to damage down below, but then again, you also don't have any defenders from the Pioneers sitting down there. So if you want that map control, you can take it pretty easily, but without that Buck, as you said, there's just not much they can do. They can could go for an impact lifeline from below, but Nicolo is all the way across the map at main door, so likely a nade at that point to try and take down anything, but all that's on the board for Pioneers in terms of hard breach denial is that mute jammer. So far, Waverunners, they have this control, but not a lot to do with it. Niccolo rotating over, you might see them push from that side, but overall, it's a master side to take with map control that Waverunners can't really use all that much, aside from watching flanks.
Yeah, without the buck to really create vertical pressure, this maybe they can get intel and use the grenades from below. But otherwise, like, this is, again, it seems to be a one-sided attack. Sure, it was multifaceted last time when it comes to 2 floors, but it's still a one-dimensional attack, and the Pioneers understand this, and of course the impact tricking, as I said before, even though they need the impact tricking because there's still a mute jammer on it that hasn't been destroyed yet because they don't have a buck to destroy it. So they can you know, grenade it from below, but they need the correct intel. The pings come out, so let's see if the grenade comes out to destroy that mute jammer on that wall. But so far now, Waverunners wasted 2 minutes just destroying utility. They haven't really gained any control. Niccolo's on his own, just kind of drone out by himself. He's droning himself up red stairs, and of course there's a mute of Wimpy with the shotgun there.
What have Waverunners accomplished in the past 2 minutes? Well, they've downed Inrio, so I suppose that's something. The Maestro down on the site, toss a second nade up. No, the Melusi quickly rotates off, knows what game that Waverunners are playing. Silent's able to pick that up, and he'll just take this momentum, start pushing up Astro. Spotted on the default cam, so you have one swinging, but ooh, Gomez felled quickly as he tries to push the sledge off of this position. Despite the little map control Waverunners had, and them really not doing much of anything with it when they had it, they're in a 3v5 right now. They've somehow moved up in this man advantage, in large part because of Silent's brazen play below and up that astronomy stairs. But there are still these players on the site. DS Lucas erases Niccolo off the face of the earth, able to take down some of that pressure inside of Master Bedroom. The Maples open the breach miraculously. He moves on in, finds Wimpy, moves back out. Pioneers in a 2v4.
Well, so far, time is of the essence for Waverunners in a C4, and intel is huge here. If they can kill Maple in these dying seconds, C4 comes out. Down goes Maple. 2 actually in the wall is Jolton. He gets a double C4 kill. The plant's still going down. Lovely takes out DS. It's Jolton to try and take this back into 1v2. One person is planting, one person is up on its cover. Whoa, one lying down. Lovely is the one trying to cover. Joe doesn't know he was in the corner, and he loses the fight, and Jolton unfortunately cannot retake, and it's Waverunners to take another round.
I honestly thought they had that with the C4. I saw it rotate down and get a double kill with it. I was like, that's the play right there. 4-2-half. But Silent had just a little bit more time in the round to able to get that bomb down. Lovely succeeds on the coverage, takes down DS Lucas, sitting just outside of Statue, and is able to come away with it. But for Waverunners, as it has been with a couple of these rounds so far, it seemed to be going the Pioneers' way for the vast majority of the round. Niccolo rotated over to the study side just to rotate back over to kitchen and red stairs. Niccolo was just, he was running a marathon around that map, and to open that mute jammer, his impact lifelines could have been very useful to clear out that wall in a much quicker pace. But despite all that, not getting the wall open, not having much pressure on the site, Silent pushes up Astro, gets 2 kills in the process. Waverunners hit the site, make it a 1v2, and all of a sudden the round goes their way, and they've got a 3-3 half. So at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah, I would say the big thing was the big factor last time they won that site was the fact that, you know, Pioneers had Wimpy and DS playing Astro Stairs and playing, you know, Brown Stairs, but this time there was nobody from Pioneers playing that section, so really they can take control of Astro with no problem, because you saw Gomez was trying to at least, you know, take a fight with some Astro Stairs, but Lovely had control of Bathroom, so even if Gomez swings that, Gomez is in a pinch between Astro Stairs and Bathroom at that point. So I would say it's really good on Waverunners to, I say somewhat good. Again, they didn't really do much in 2 minutes, but also in Pioneers too, they didn't really adapt to what the play was going to happen. I guess they didn't really understand or know at that point because of how much Waverunners had just ran around the map for 2 minutes.
Well, now moving to the defense, they are certainly, well, they might actually, but with what the ops are seeing right now, they're not going to be running around the map. You're not going to see an Echo roaming or Maple roaming on the smoke. Could see Silent or Vena opt to get a little bit aggressive, maybe go for some early intel inside of AVG, or inside of Trophy Statuary, excuse me. We do, in fact, see 2 players sitting downstairs. You can't exactly tell who they are, but it is 2 players nonetheless, and I imagine it could very well be one of those players with a C4, likely Silent. He's ripping it right now. Pre-placed as well. Hasn't blown it up yet, so if somebody from Pioneers hasn't droned it out, maybe walks or takes the wrong step, could find themselves dead early on.
Yeah, there's a lot of crowded spots here that could get the kill. So at least the mutant mods at least make it difficult for KCP to roam, but otherwise KCP have no problem taking control. There's no roam here from Waverunners, so KCP are gonna take control of the trophy statue. So opening up below, I think they know maybe that there's a C4 pre-planted, so they're just opening up holes to see if they can find someone. There's a C4 and Inrio. Inrio goes down, but unfortunately no kill because it wasn't enough damage. He wasn't exactly on it, so that splash damage was getting killed. And oh, there's the pickoff. He tries to go for the finish, but Silent will take 75% of his health gone as he runs away.
I feel like Inrio has been down 3 times in this game so far. I might be wrong, but I feel like he's not been having a good go of it so far. But either way, the fact that he's able to stay alive, you get that set of frag grenades, and you also now know that Silent is downstairs to try to go confirm that kill. You might have had an inkling once that C4 went off, but now they're confirmed, hey, there might still be somebody downstairs inside a library. Whether they opt to go check it out and clear them out is entirely up to them. Now with the Roni firing, it's likely either Lovely or Silent, but Lovely is the one using that P10 Roni, so it is the Rooney pushing over on that book side. Pioneers, 2 minutes in, they have this 90 control, but with these players still sitting down below, nobody pressuring over on Study side just yet. Gomez will land the opening pick onto Silent. I believe that's down below. And now with somebody rotating over to Study, they have what they need and the man advantage as well. They just have to follow through on that.
Let's see how easy it is. Maple takes out Wimpy, though. This is a trade back, and it goes to Sophia. It should make it more difficult now for the side of KCP. And this time, what the control next is going to be Study. But, they have the Rune here behind his shield to try and make it difficult. And that Rune gate that was on the skull door has now been reactivated. So now KCP are being caught up and stopped at every turn. Smoke's here to stop them from pushing into skull. And Inrio, no HP, he can't fly farther. Also, you have the diffuser sitting there. Niccolo with the kill was on to Gomez. Back and forth it goes. A swing from Niccolo out the door. And Classical takes out DS. It's now a 2v4 in KCP. So many stops and without any way of really entering. They're just being gated here as they try to walk in. Inrio with a grenade out. Won't find anybody. Just there's Niccolo. Niccolo fires back and finishes him off. It's Jolton in a 1v4. Walks in, gets his kill of his own. He kills Niccolo and his Reign of Terror. Finishes off Lovely, running through into Study, but time has run out. Waverunners will take the first defense.
It seemed like rapid expansion for the side of the Pioneers. It was stunted a little bit by that C4 from below. Wasn't finished off, so they're able to pick Inrio back up. But once they got that control over on 90 side, they just stopped a little bit. They had Jolton rotating over to Study, but since he's the only person over there and he's not actively pressuring main stairs, Niccolo feels like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna swing out into 90, and he just smokes somebody off the face of the earth. One of the players from the Pioneers sitting inside of 90. Jolton's still doing his best to hold Study, so while he has that rotate cut off, Waverunners are just laying into the execute on the site. You still have your yokai drones up. You have your toxic canisters going out, choking off all the doorways that Pioneers are trying to push through. So at that point, with how much time has already gone off the clock, they don't have much of a choice than either try to find some other entrance to rotate from or just barrel on through. And once that happens, Waverunners, they know they boxed them in. They pick them off one by one, and there's nothing more Jolton can do than try to pick up the pieces. So a very good defense to start things off on Waverunners, just like they had a very good round to start off on their attack.
Very true, very true. I would say Waverunners, yeah, they still had a lot of utility in those ending, minute of the round, really there. So the fact that, KCP, they're trying to take control and they're still running into this utility that's stopping them every turn. Great for Waverunners. We'll see how they do on this next site. We go trophy and statue for their next site, and same even more. They still have shield on their side of, on the side of that Goyo. They're not bringing a shield on Lovely though. Lovely's bringing a bulletproof cam instead of the Frost. It's definitely interesting until they want to gain and things they want to keep an eye on. So let's see how they do it. There is kind of an extension, but I don't see any kind of utility reinforcements or anything being put on the AVG side. Maybe they're just playing it, just waste time and try to bait out, bait out utility from the side of KCP.
Talk about baiting utility or even burning or wasting utility. Players have made a very risky decision. They put Wimpy on IQ. That could be for 2 reasons. 1, there was an Echo last time in the hands of Waverunners. But 2, they also got down by C4 from below. So putting Wimpy on that IQ should be able to spot both. But if you look on the side of Waverunners, there's not much he can really use that IQ against. Maybe some utility from below, able to shoot some ADSs through the floor. But what's most important is what the Pioneers don't have. They don't have that Zofia. They don't have impact lifelines, which could burn the 2 Goyo shields, the 2 Evil Eyes, or a deployable shield in the hands of Maple, even a BP if you want to, the bulletproof cam in the hands of Lovely. But they also don't have those concussions, nothing to burn those ADSs. Pioneers have made a very big risk switching Wimpy to the IQ, but without a Zofia, they've kind of hampered their utility game, especially against the lineup Waverunners have.
I gotta agree. At least there's no utility denial, or there's no, hard breach denial on the side of Waverunners. The Zofia pick, or Zofia not being there, isn't as huge, but I definitely agree. There's definitely shields that could be dealt with by that impacts. Their grenades will have to be risked instead, and we'll see how it works out. As they're taking control of this north side. They're making sure nobody's flanking from below, droning out, making sure nobody's in living and room library, nobody's playing below the kitchen and dining. And so far, the run out though from Lovely over in bedroom. So Jolton by himself was trying to take control of Master. Nobody was with him, so a Lovely had the intel and just jumps out and kills him. That is not a great start to lose your heart breach that quickly, and now this is becoming a one-dimensional push. Though Wimpy gets a win of his kill zone. Onimir with a great grenade onto Maple. They've gave himself the man advantage at least.
Yeah. No hard breach denial, but losing your hard breach can't really make the most of that opportunity. But in a similar way to what Waverunners did sometimes, when they lose important parts of their utility, they're like, screw it. We'll just send it on in, and we'll try to work these picks, and the Pioneers are able to work too. Gomez also sitting behind a drone right now, or standing a bit far back behind one. Master Bedroom's drone, but he knows it's clear. He can entry in from this position and hold a powerful angle on the side of bricks. If Wimpy decides to push on in, he has a deployable shield staring at him as Gomez swings on in. He gets taken down, but he's able to land the trade. Silent swings out. He's the last one alive. Pioneers, their strategy right there was, okay, we've got that man advantage. It's a 4v3. Everyone rotate to your positions. Gomez rotate over to bedroom. We'll push in through trophy and statue. We'll try to work these trades, and it ended up going their way. They even it 4-4.
How you deal with the shield, you just pre-fire it with a freaking LMG.
Just hold mouse 1 and pray.
That was funny because he just walks in, sees that shield and statuary. He has, Gomez on his right coming from bricks, so he just pre-fires one angle. Gomez pre-fires the other angle. He can't go anywhere.
I mean, we made a joke about it, but it did work. It is a legitimate counter. It's a bit risky, but it is a legitimate counter.
You battle utility, just use bullets, guys. Come on, easy.
Why hasn't anybody thought of this before?
Yeah, why have you guys done this? KCP are just, striving for a new meta. Who needs utility when you just got bullets?
That was Wimpy's plan. He's like, all right, guys, I know we don't have the Zofia, but I'm a just pre-fire him. And in all fairness, it did work. Now we're back down to kitchen. All right, moving back down to kitchen. We're going to kitchen for the first time for Waverunners, but if you're talking about the grand scheme of this match, we are back at the tertiary bomb site. Not the same emphasis on deployable shields that we saw this time, because you might have one put upstairs inside a trophy or statuary, but not the same focus. A lot of it will be played on the vertical. That'd be Maple as priority number 1 for the side of the Pioneers. You do have Wimpy on the IQ once again. That is a much more direct counter to the lineup of Waverunners, since you can spot that pulse through the floor, but even though you can see them, you still always have to be weary of those C4s.
Very true. I very much agree here. And Waverunners, both times they played against the site on their attack, they elected to never try and deal with the roam. They've never went upstairs, never tried to really deal with those players on top floor. KCP, will they do the same? Because Waverunners on both times, either horizontal clear or a rush through laundry, both attempts did not work out for them. So KCP looks like they're going for horizontal clear, and they made it quick because KCP, on their own defense, they were able to flank Waverunners and stop that horizontal clear whatsoever. So let's see how KCP do. Of course, the Nomad will be helpful from DS to stop some of that, rotate some of those flanks, and whether or not they have some. So far, KCP are just kind of running out, figuring out what's going on, maybe trying to bait out some aggression, but so far nobody's really pushing, and I don't know what intel KCP has so far of these players.
Well, I was likely just gaining some cursory information, trying to be like, all right, anybody playing off site? Anybody, someplace where they shouldn't be? Okay, no? All right, we'll start rotating on over. You do have a couple players still pushing over on that library side, so they've rotated from the right side to the left side, but in a similar vein to Waverunners, nobody dealing with that roam. Makes a bit of sense here, not too much utility dedicated up top because of that pulse. The majority of your focus would be, all right, they'll play into the roam up top. They'll try to clear it out. We'll put 1 or 2 C4s at their feet and blow them up. They can't fight back unless they have Wimpy manage to snipe one off the floor before it's able to be blown up. So the Pioneer solution, we won't play into that. We'll send the players horizontally to try to clear people out, get to the edge of the site, send Inrio down below as well to try and catch any wayward defenders playing downstairs. And for minute 30 in, it's been quiet. The question is, will the same thing happen to Waverunners and they'll rotate back down? The answer seems to be yes.
Oh, Lovely ready for that aggression in real. They had the intel on that player of Lovely, but Lovely wins that fight with the P10 Romney. Great shots. And so far, yeah, it's been quiet more than that, but there's another player coming upstairs. He's looking up and he's crouching down, but still wins the fight. Lovely.
That was
good
Diffuser.
For 2. And that's Diffuser down on Brown stairs. Lovely at this point, he says, I have Diffuser, but I don't care. I'm just going to return the site to Pantry stairs. Diaz is in laundry all by himself. He's looking above him at that hatch, scared someone's gonna drop, but also there's a shotgun waiting across there. Diaz don't get Vayne, so Vayne goes down. He was had a shotgun across waiting to take that fight, but he'll lose it to Diaz anyway. So another kill, Lovely. Lovely's good for 3 for this round. As he takes out Gomez. Now it's 2v4. It's Wimpy and Diaz to try and pick up the pieces.
Pioneers every 15 seconds have now sent 3 1v1s at Lovely. First, it was Inrio who gets killed. Then it was Jolton with the diffuser who gets killed. Then it was Gomez, not with the diffuser. And now 4 for Lovely, who has taken 4 1v1s in a row and has come away the victor on all 4. Looking for the ace right now in a 1v3. Wimpy is able to find 1, but this is a situation that Pioneers just did not need to be in. I get losing Inrio on the roam, but sending Jolt with diffuser and everything after that could have taken it a little bit more coordinated, but they'll lose it in the end. A beautiful ace from Lovely, entirely revolved around the Pioneers hungry to take him down, but answered by Lovely's own hunger to get another round on the board.
So let's see, how should I describe that round? Let me think. This is actually a fighting game. It's actually a 1v1 simulator, and actually they just challenged Lovely one after another, and it was a Rooney versus Sledge, a Rooney versus Ace, Rooney versus Sophia, and Lovely won every single match.
I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. Inrio is going on a late roam clear down below. Perfectly fine. He actually has intel as well. There are people actively droning it out. Yep. So he knows that Lovely is there. He just ends up losing the fight. Hey, that happens. Swing or be swung. It is what it is. So Jolton is like, okay, guys, I got this. He goes down. It doesn't look like he has the same intel at his disposal as Inrio was working with. He just kind of face checks it. I might be wrong. There might have been intel there, but he loses the fight anyway. The biggest part there is that was diffuser. If you ever want to go for an execute, you can't really now because you have to send someone to go for that unless you want to go for the kills, which Pioneers could. They opted not to. And now we have the round we're left with. And Waverunners, they're in the lead. We are currently, if this trend continues, we just keep going back and forth. Waverunners, they won that first round. We're in danger of losing our predictions.
It could be. Hey, I'm a fond believer of I like losing my predictions. I like seeing teams who we all think are going to lose win it out and beat these teams. Because KCP, hey, we all have faith in KCP because they were in second place last stage. They were one of those star teams from last stage, but nothing stays forever. KCP, unfortunately, here on Villa, not looking good so far. But we go on to our next defense from Waverunners. We're back in Trophy Statuary, which last time KCP won this through their own gun skill, having lost Jolton, who was the hard breacher. They had to just have a one-dimensional push from that south and north side, and they had shields ready to try and and help out these defenders. But it doesn't matter when you have an LMG and you have multiple faceted bullets coming at your players, because Waverunners could not stand that.
Nah, they clearly could not, playing behind that deployable shield. They have also switched Wimpy from that IQ to that Zofia. Again, that's utility. That is utility you desperately need. Because Benny, you don't have to focus on that, hoping that the defender peeks in your pre-fire. You can just destroy it. Sometimes,
hope they are
I believe that is what they had in mind when they came up with Occam's Razor, was switching to a Zofia instead of using IQ's LMG.
Well, yeah, it looks like that is the intent. They're going downstairs, looking to open up from below and destroy these shields without having to, face check and, fight 1v1 against a shield. So this should be easy for KCP, but will they run into the same issue that Waverunners had on their attack, where they droned Dining Kitchen, but they didn't drone Browser, they didn't drone Astro, and there were 2 players from KCP waiting on those stairs to take that fight. Waverunners look to be in similar places. There is 1 player on Browsers at the moment. I believe that's Lovely again? I can't tell.
It might be the king of brownstairs sitting down there. Who knows, though? Hopefully, Pioneers will tackle a different strategy and not give him 5 1v1s in a row. And hopefully, they drone him out, because at this point, I'm not entirely sure if the player sitting down there has been spotted by the attack. It is Lovely, but the way he's moving, it appears that his position might be known. In fact, he'll peek out, he'll start to rotate back, and in fact, he'll rotate back upstairs to Astra, that position we saw DS Lucas play. So returning to the safety of the site, unsure if he's the culprit for this minute 20 wasted by the Pioneers so far, or if they're just still taking their clear at the standard steps. But they have moved back up top. They have this control down below. Jolton's able to open the wall now that he's not killed on master bedroom balcony. So for the Pioneers, minute 30 in, they're actually able to acquire a lot of the control for the take they're going for.
Yeah, so far looking really good for KCP. Open up that tri-wall. They're opening up more of it now, so they just have good angles on those players and Trophy as well. And whether or not these shields, looks like shields, at least in Statuary, have been destroyed, but the shield inside Astro, inside a Trophy, are the next take. DS with the kill on the Silent, though. I believe Silent was probably playing probably on site, or maybe Astro Stairs. He'll go down, and looks like that next second shield trying to get destroyed, but being eaten up by these ADSs. Inrio throws both his grenades into 2 ADSs, and I'm pretty sure there's probably 2 more grenades. 1 more grenade in Gomez. They still have the impacts of Whippy, so they should be able to destroy it. Lovely takes the place of Silent on those Astro Stairs, and I believe actually there's a player on Brown Stairs that is coming to flank Lovely. He gets a kill on Inrio though. That's not good, and there's a flank from Gomez.
Excellent coordination by the Pioneers, and what appears to might be an excellent execute as Jolton picks up that kill onto Venna. 2v4 on the side. One does have a C4, both Pioneers bounding upon their position. Maple using the rest of his utility. A lot of this is going to come down to gunfights. Niccolo loses one, but Maple wins another in a position he could have landed that long shot. Would have been huge, would have been match point as well. But no, it was a Pioneers round, and it's even once again.
We go back and forth. This is the pendulum of this part between these 2 teams. I know we said, we said that Villa these days is even, but this is literally even. Just going back and forth. Nobody's ahead for 1 round. Actually, I might be wrong in that. Did someone take a lead of more than 1 round so far? I might be wrong in that. I don't know if I am or not. But either way, we'll see Waverunners go to Aviator Games for our next defense.
No, nobody has attained more than a 1-round lead so far. Waverunners won the first, KCP won the next 2, but that is still a lead of 1.
Yeah, still lead of 1.
Then Waverunners even 2-2. KCP take another one. That's 3-2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Trophies then 3-3. AVGs then 4-3.
Yep.
And then yeah, it's 1 for 1.
We're going back and forth, but that last round, that was a pretty good Pioneers last round. They destroyed all utility from below, made sure they got picks when they could, took control of Astro, took fights with these players, and really I would say that they had the flank on Astro Stairs to make sure they didn't get, the Astro Stairs was important when they won that round. They made sure to nullify Lovely playing Astro Stairs. So while we're from Pioneers, let's see how they can do on this AVG site.
Same lineup as previously, but we do not have Wimpy on that IQ. Again, a bit of a risk reward. You don't have that intel, but it makes clearing out those yokais all the more important. You don't need it as much now that the yokais are no longer invisible, but it's still a luxury you can have. But Zofia, in all likely, the safe. The Pioneers, or at least one person seems to have spawned on that western side of the map, if you will. Northwestern, give or take. But everyone is spawned on that study side as well. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more pressure on that main stairs. It'll force the defenders, or it'll restrict some of the flexibility they had previously to play on that side of the map. We won't have Lovely or Niccolo swinging from books or inside the site as we did last time. But it does also mean that a couple of the players playing down for Waverunners, they have a lot more of the map at their disposal if Inrio or Jolton, Inrio or Wimpy are watching, which it appears Inrio is.
Inrio doesn't want to get C4'd again.
He does not. He has no desire to go down.
He has no desire to be on the floor for a second time on this take. So they're looking forward, making sure these vertical angles aren't going to be, the prey of their deaths. And so far, Silent is below downstairs though. I believe he's in the library. There's 2 players actually in the library. There's Silent, and I don't know who's, maybe it's Lovely with him. So there's 2 players downstairs. Actually, Niccolo and Silent playing below at C4s, and they have rotates ready. So they're playing. They actually have a reinforced wall inside of gallery, and Silent peeks out and he loses life. But aggressive there from Silent. There goes 1 C4 and Inrio with the first pick.
You do lose that C4, but you do still have Niccolo down below. But that's your other C4. So if he falls soon after and he's not able to rotate back up, the entire reason you had players roam downstairs is completely nullified. Lovely, he's nullified as well, but they clearly did not have, or KCP, I should say, clearly did not have info on the second player playing downstairs. He's able to pick up one as he rotates off. That's your set, or one of your sets of nades down below. But Pioneers, they do still have the man advantage. That is the important part, and they're able to start pressuring this main stairs much more actively. You do still have Maple playing there. He's tossed 1 toxic canister down so far. He's got 2 more. Now 1 more as the second one goes out. The Pioneers, look at how eager they are to start moving in.
Oh, one's about to peek the aviator door. The timing, he's waiting for it. Niccolo peeks it, loses a bit of a life. He's now intent on staying back, has lost his 75% HP. But that player on main stairs, Maple, is the next intent for KCP. That is what we need to take control of. Jolton has a good angle too if he can walk in the study, but the problem is he's by himself. They come up the 9 stairs, losing his life to Wimpy. Maple goes down, and Niccolo does take out Diaz though elsewhere. Actually, Niccolo's gone below in a flank, though, so this flank is kind of what they need to bring things back. But the problem is now Vena's the only one on site.
This is the issue. It's another series of isolated 1v1s, and unfortunately for Vena, he's basically facing a 1v3 at this point actively. Niccolo sprints out, wants to go for a C4, but here are these yokais. They're ever important, but with 30 seconds left, KCP have plenty of time to maneuver around that. They do. The Echo tries to maneuver over a couch, and there's Jolton watching. It's match point for the Pioneers, but for how well Waverunners has played, I hope we see overtime.
Yeah, we could see overtime. Though I will say Pioneers have gotten better as the rounds have gone by, though. These becoming more and more dominant rounds in a sense. Still close, somewhat, but that was a 1v3 at the end there. Some of those rounds before weren't exactly 1v3s when it came to it. So I think KCP is starting to, starting to adapt, starting to figure things out. Maybe I'm putting too much faith in KCP, but we'll see how we go on. Back to Aviator Games for our second try from Waverunners. As this last round, that was big. The fact that they were able to deal with one of the roamers downstairs, get a pick on the player on main stairs. At least I think it was main stairs. I don't know exactly what it was. Nicolo does get a kill of his own, but by the time he's able to get that pick and try to return to site, they had killed the other player on main stairs, making it a 2v4 at that point too. So it's just very difficult for them to try and make that man advantage, try to equalize it in that equation. Nicolo trying to get aggressive downstairs, leaving Venda all by himself. He gets picked off on the rotate back to main stairs, trying to flank them and leave Venda all by himself. So really, I'm not sure if Waverunners should be that aggressive, if that's going to be the outcome, or whether or not they should just try and stick more to sight.
And that's the issue playing there. With Waverunners, they've been playing very aggressively. Remember Nicolo swinging that study door? That's kind of how Waverunners have been playing pretty frequently in these rounds so far. So if you're going to try to hold downstairs that effectively to try to rotate back, you can't be swinging out and giving your life away. It ended up getting Nicolo a kill downstairs, but 2 bodies were lost in the process. So if you are going to play that aggressively, play aggressive in positioning, but maybe not aggressive in actual taking of gunfights. Just waste some time, try to figure things out. We'll see a similar main stairs hold coming out for Waverunners. Might see Maple rotate on over there, depending on how the round goes. And that's one thing I will say, Maple was able to waste so much time on that main stairs, in part because of Pioneers struggling to clear out library, but also because of those toxic canisters, all of which were successful. Had he not swung out, that round might have gone a little bit differently, but for the Pioneers either way. Going for a different take. Moving over to the other side of the map, well, actually I say that, it appears to be the same take. People were kind of spawning in a little bit of an in-between position. I confused myself.
Well, it looks to be the same take, because I really think they need to, because the mirror is now being brought by Vena, so this...
Need that vert?
Yeah, they need that vert to try and deal with these mirrors, these black mirrors inside of games. And Wimpy on Zofia will be important so they can destroy it from below. The first kill goes in the way of Waverunners. Silent pre-fires that doorway into piano. Great intel and great shots to try and deal with that first flip in here with the grenades too. The grenades could be important to deal with some of these shields. Lovely with an angle from above. Huge angles. Damage to both players, though Wimpy will somewhat win it out. Though in the same sense, it's still at least they're trying to at least stop and stall out Pioneers for as long as they can.
Such a good pick by Silent, rotating back afters as well. This really puts Wimpy and Gomez in a tough spot. They're the only ones who are able to even get some semblance of vertical control. Wimpy will use his final impact lifeline to open up a hole, and he does pop open a mirror. That's exactly what you needed. But Waverunners still have these holes to peer down below and try to pressure either Wimpy or anybody who wants to move in this position. There's nobody actually contesting it downstairs, though, so Wimpy doesn't have to worry too much about potentially getting flanked. Jolton, they're out of so much charge, not able to open anything up, so he'll likely go in, try to figure out what the hell happened.
What did they get caught on? No, the salvo charge is on the top of the windowsill, on top of the door sill.
Oh.
How did it get caught there?
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was an Aruni gate.
No, that's the salvo. I was like, wait, how did it... Anyway, as I was saying, so there's actually some different changes here. So there's people from KCP going for it north to south take. Wimpy by himself trying to clear and trying to do his kind of take from himself. He's 80 with Gomez to try and take control of 90, but it's Pioneers have to try and rotate because of these kills. And really, these shields are really making the study take very difficult for them. Lovely's by himself. He downs Wimpy, already low in HP, backs off back into sight, trying to finish that kill off. He probably doesn't know he downed Wimpy for the moment, so he's going to back off. And Gomez may be able to pick him up, but time is running out.
Maybe. Yeah, that's the issue. It's a 4v5 right now. Time is running out. Nicolo down below. The Phantom C4 is able to come back on match point. Takes down Wimpy. And what do Waverunners have? They have time. And what do Pioneers have? Well, they have this angle by Jolton, who is watching the flank, able to spot Nicolo on the rotate back up. But that mirror window in games, it's not been cleared. It's watching the site, the very spot Jolton wants to plant. He knows he has to push up for the kill. At the very least, find one. He only downs Maple. He's put on the floor as well. Gomez and DS Lucas are able to push in. Vena's the only one left. How quickly this is turned. With 1 second left, he can't get the bomb down. He's able to win overtime for his team, not by kills, but just by being a little bit too pesky and playing a little bit too loose for KCP to deal with.
Oh, Vena playing so elusive. They had no clue where Vena as Pioneers were racing to try and find the kills because Jolton at that point, because KCP in that round, they were trying to figure things out. They're trying to find a way in because that mirror window made it very difficult to make that play happen into, Aviator. And because of the shields, because of the Runegates, that main stairs take is still very difficult too. So KCP are looking around, they rotate late to make that north to south push instead. They're able to try and take it over. Windy goes down, then he gets finished off by C4. The players try and push through Skull, but they take control of Classical's dying seconds, get those kills they need. They down so many players on Waverunners, but down to 10 seconds, and Ven is still alive inside of Vault, and they had no clue where he was.
Well played by Vena on that one, especially overall for Waverunners, able to stave off a lot of the time there. But going to Kitchen. Going to Kitchen is the first site in overtime. Waverunners do have defense. So far, it has been a 3-3 half for both sides, so even looking at precedent, it is still very even between these two teams when it comes to the sides. But for this round in particular, large part is because of another failed horizontal clear by the side of the Pioneers.
Yep. So will somebody finally do a roam clear?
That is the question, isn't it? I mean, I kind of get it for the Pioneers. They don't want to play into the C4s. They don't want to play into the Pulse, more importantly. But it is also, you're playing into potentially 3 players on the site. All anticipating a potential horizontal clear.
Yeah, last time the big thing was the fact that they just challenged Lovely one by one on those brown stairs, and whether they didn't really go for a real clear of Lovely, whether it be going from downstairs and trying to push him at 2 separate times, which maybe they couldn't because China was being held by another player. That could have been why, but at that point, maybe you probably shouldn't have pushed Lovely then if you couldn't really flank him or make that, you know, a refraggable position. So at this point, no, KCP looks to be another horizontal roam. Lovely once again playing those brown stairs. If somebody's playing as China, how is KCP going to try and take this efficiently? Because whether or not, if they try to make ones again, this could be easily be a replicable round from that last time when Lovely got an ace.
Pioneers, when it comes to executing on the site, they've managed to play these trades very well, but on that roam clear, as you said, that's been the difficult part. There is one playing aggressively on this position once again. I don't know if that's in the site or on brown stairs specifically. We just saw the highlight through the wall for a mere second. No, that was Lovely playing in the site, not on brown stairs. He is next to a stairwell, though, so with only a minute in, there's still plenty of time for him to rotate down and using the intel potentially given by Maple on that pulse to decide whether or not it's good for him to make a play. For the Pioneers so far, they are not playing into this roam. They are just taking this from the horizontal once again. Still plenty of players outside the building or in positions where they could rotate up and try to clear it out, but we're a minute 30 in. Pioneers, they're still setting up for something, but what it is still to be determined.
They're looking for something to try and exploit here from Waverunners, but again, Waverunners have the above. You see these are holes made by the Rooney of Lovely. They're trying to, or the holes by maybe Ben on the shotgun, and they're scared to push through because they're just trying to figure out what to do, where to go, where can we push through that they are not expecting from Waverunners' side. Shots coming through in real outside of Pantry. Grenade comes out too, maybe to try and get a kill on somebody, something they can work off of. But so far, it looks like actually no, it's partners used to destroy the mute jammer on that single wall, but so far they still couldn't destroy it. So this, you know, this is a stall here inside of Pantry. Another grenade comes out, destroy that CT and get rid of the mute jammer. And so far, finally will nope, not destroy the jammer.
That is. I don't know how massive that could be. Wimpy's just in the site, actually, so maybe it doesn't matter all that much now that Wimpy's managed to find a way in. Lovely takes down Inrio and Jolton, the 2 players sitting on Pantry. One of them aiding on the coverage. They've all fallen. DS Lucas is outside the map. He's able to find Lovely on the rotate up. He gets the bomb as well. But look at how many people are just watching his position. Now the shots coming out. They know exactly where he is, but he finds one through the wall. Excellent game sensor. Just a lucky pre-fire by DS Lucas. Whatever it is, it's made the situation a little bit more palatable. Maple's crouched behind the table. He just sends a C4 out, but it's shot in the air. Now he's on low HP. He's able to pick it up. Surely they don't go to match point on this. It's not another DS Lucas 1v4. He's already got at least a couple over the course of stage 1 and 2 of CL, but Silent is watching his position. He hears the footsteps coming out. He's not looking the right way. He's able to land the pre-fire and put Waverunners on match point and likely result in an outcome if they're able to win one more that none of us expected.
Oh man, we're so close. But that round coming down the KCP, you know, they're scared of the pulse. So that maybe that's scared, but they don't want to deal with the pulse and lose members on that vertical roam clear. So they go for a horizontal clear. But the problem is they don't exactly have a lead or an angle to exploit. So they're looking around, they're trying to drone out, figure out what they can do, see if they can get a pick somewhere to lead them, to snowball them into a play. But unfortunately, they couldn't really find anything. Wimpy actually walked in the site in through China. Nobody was covering that browsers. Nobody was covering that China side, so we could walk in. But that play they're pushing through from the side of, you know, Pantry into site, they walk in, but players inside of Dining were ready for it because, you know, obviously you saw, I think it was Inrio throw 2 grenades in through Pantry. Kind of obvious where you're coming from at that point. So obviously they have a C4 ready. They deny the play. They get the kill, deny the push from Pantry. They kill Wimpy because at that point they can, you know, collapse on that side, and that allows that pushes leads DS and allows the player on the road at that point try and pick up the pieces, you know, create something out of nothing.
Now at match point, Pioneers, they're able to move to the defense. Trophy Statuary. This was a site that it worked well for them in round number 3, but round number 6, Waverunners did end up winning it. So a bit of a checkered pass, but that's kind of overall KCP's defenses. Every site they've gone to, Waverunners have won at least once, except for Aviator Games, which Waverunners actually won twice. Actually, wait, I believe actually Kansas City Pioneers.
Actually, wasn't it?
10 seconds left.
They won each bomb site twice. They won AVG twice, Kitchen twice, and then Trophy
5
twice.
seconds remaining.
So KCP did win Dining Room twice, but it is a little bit of an unfavored site. It's always a little bit risky, just wanting to play it a bit more safe on Trophy Statuary. They do have this mirror to play off of, potentially for anybody playing down below or above on the site. They're trying to stop anybody from pushing up Astro as aggressively as Waverunners did. That was Silent pushing up those stairs, got a nade, then a kill on top of it. Amir Winnow watching that position inside the site. If Waverunners aren't able to go for the same vertical control they could with the Buck, as they don't have him in the pocket, so they can't really counter it all that much. Could very well
last
be
time big thing
strong.
was the fact that, you know, we saw Pioneers playing that brown stairs, playing the Astro stairs, well, really well. They're able to cover it, so they couldn't. But last time they didn't do that. Last time they lost this site was when they didn't have control of brown stairs, didn't control Astro. So whenever they got, you know, they pushed from bathroom, they had that Astro stairs control, which allowed them to control Astro that much easier. So this time, Pioneers probably looking at, you see the rigor, of course, of DS playing Astro stairs and looking to try and hold it for as long as possible. That mirror window too, last time they had was open up from below too. So that's kind of the big thing here, is that Nicola once again looking to try and get rid of those mirror windows, allow them to push into Astro and make that actually, like, you know, work like just like it did last time. And of course, they try and destroy the rejammers on the wall too, so they can open up that tri-wall into bedroom. So of course, Waverunners looking to do that, and so far it looks like they may have done it already.
Not entirely sure. We saw the Zofia send out one of those lifelines. Didn't see her try to shoot anything after, but they are able to open up part of the wall. But, or actually, no, they're not. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, that was just a very, very late delay on that Selva charge opening that up. One is jammed, but they do have a feet hole, cutting off that rotation between Trophy and Astro. So a nice angle from able to play off of, but this impact trick still rearing its head. All they're able to get, well, yeah, actually is able to pick one back up. So they can open a little bit more of an angle, but it is very one-sided, only on that right side of the wall. So while you can hold it, not that much to push on through if you don't have the control at your disposal.
Yeah, last time we saw that Maple walk in and kill someone. Whippy gets the first kill onto Silence, so there goes your Sledge with the grenades that could have been important to destroy the shield inside of Astro. Of course, some aggression, some timed aggression. Wimpy is huge there. He flanks you all the way downstairs, now returning the site all the way from the bread stairs, probably. So Waverunners down that grenade they need. They still have one set, probably one grenade left on the side, one explosive, Niccolo as well, so they could be a way to still destroy that shield. That grenade does great work, kills Gomez, and now evens up that playing field. And still, what is the intent of Waverunners? Looking to try to get more picks to try and make their way into Astro, but what really can they get with the utility they have left?
Well, Astro is currently free real estate for the attacking team. Nobody's actually playing inside of there. There is one contesting that position, and Evil Eye as well to gain intel. But you don't only have that. You also have Wimpy on the run down below with the C4. Even though Maple and Lovely were able to net those 2 kills, the C4 doesn't find anything. That is huge. How quickly this is tumbled for the Pioneers. They started in a 4v5, and now it's Wimpy the only one left, and he's gone. Waverunners, they've done it. Despite all the chaos they've gone through, all these troubles they've had, they beat Kansas City Pioneers, what many thought to be either the top or the #1 or the #2 team in Group